I have to admit that I am not a super security-minded person. Like, I got broken into while I was sleeping in the bus in California, and I'm still not a security-minded person. It's just not something that really occurs to me. I know it should. I'm not, saying it's a good thing. And I know that most of you are a lot more sensible than I am about this. So that's why we are putting a lock on this Skoolie split door.
Maximalist minibus with Mary and Captain and you. Get on the bus!
I hope you don't mind the fan sounds in the background, but I'm not shutting them up for you. One of them's in the solar unit, and the other one is just the room fan, and it's a hot day today. Today's the day I'm going to put a lock on my passenger door. My school bus door. The one where you pick up the kids. There are a lot of YouTube videos about putting locks on doors. The problem is there are so many different doors. So I have split doors, double doors. And I thought that they were just regular bus doors, very common. But I have found out that there's no such thing as regular bus doors, so I'm on my own. I have the cool bar that locks it, that you operate with a handle from the driver's seat, and it works great, but you can only do it from inside. So, like if I'm going in the grocery store, I end up either leaving it unlocked, or I have to use the driver's side door to come in. If I'm carrying a bunch of stuff, it's annoying. Occasionally I do feel the need to lock up tight when I'm camped. Depends on who's around. But I will often pile a bunch of stuff on the driver's seat because I'm not using it when I'm camped, right? So I'll put like my trash barrel there and stuff. And I gotta move everything to use the driver's side if I've locked the bar. I got this big honkin' lock on Amazon. It's called a hidden shackle padlock. And the way it works is the key goes in here in the bottom. Sorry, that's just great camera work. And then the whole cylinder pulls out like that. And then it just lifts off. And then you see the hasp is underneath. It's big and it's heavy and it really doesn't exactly fit. I've seen people cut into the rubber or cut a gap in the rubber to make a lock fit, but yeah, I don't want to do that. Plus, the rubber's not really in the way here. But the lock's going to just have to sit on top of that rubber, I guess. Also, my doors are not really flush. They pop out, they do all kinds of weird things, and if I were more ambitious, I might take them off, take them apart, put them back together better, but yeah, I hate to say it, but I have limited ambition, so that's not going to happen. I'm also trying to figure out why a brand new lock is rusty on the inside already. It hasn't even been anywhere but in a box. I decided against the big honkin' lock. It just feels like it's too much lock. It kind of screams, hey, I'm a lock. Let's see if you can break in. Plus, I looked on Amazon at the reviews for the exact one I bought, and people were posting all kinds of nasty rusty pictures after a short amount of time, which makes total sense to me because I can see rust inside this lock and it's brand new. I'm looking for a way that I can lock this from outside, but then I thought, why don't I just try to get a deadbolt? It gives me a little extra security. A couple of times I've hit a really good bump and the bar lock has gone boom. Only twice it's happened, but it's jumped open. And every now and then I forget to lock that. So if I had another lock, at least it'd be one more thing that I could forget, right? I found this one, it's really small. Where the windows are, I've only got a really small area that I can fit a lock, so I figured the smaller the better. I'm going to need to mount a piece of wood in the indent and then attach that to a longer piece that goes across the top, and that's what the lock is going to attach to, because there's really no place to put the lock itself like on the door. I'm using my favorite constructive adhesive, which is Loctite. I think it's like Ultra Grab or something like that. But anyway, I'll put it in the description. But it cures. It's totally cured in 24 hours. But it gets tacky and then dries super quick, enough that you can do things with it fairly quickly. So that's why I use this particular one. And I'm using that to put the two pieces of wood together. I've been trying to think through the physics of the situation, and I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know shit about physics. But for once, I'm going to take my time with this. I have to drill multiple holes in the door, and I don't want to do that until I know that it's in the right place. This is going to look really dumb, but I'm actually going to tape the pieces to the door and try it and see if it works. It doesn't work. Testing it with the tape has shown me that there's a really big problem. The catch on this lock is curved on one side and flat on the other. It's designed for a door that opens in, and it's designed for the curved side to hit the hasp so that it can drop into the hole. And the way this is set up, the only way it can go, really, it's going to hit with the straight side, and it's just not going to go in. So it's not going to work. Okay, I have another option. It's a single tumbler deadbolt. I think I can make this one work. It has to land in exactly the right space so that the teeth go into the slot exactly right. So we got to try the tape version first. I've only taped in the lock side because the other side, it's kind of hard to line that up without the lock side being actually installed first. Okay, it looks like this could work as long as it lines up exactly. And I'm not exactly Miss Precision. I can try it though. Let me show you something that happens all the time. I have all these hole saws. I've got to cut this hole, and it's a 1 1/4 inch hole. I obviously need to get out my 1 1/4 inch hole saw, right? Oh wait, that is a 1 3/8 inch hole saw. I don't have a 1 1/4 inch hole saw. Should I try it? What do you think? Should I try what I have, or should I go buy a new hole saw? Well, usually these things are fairly specific, so I think if I want to do this right, I'm going to have to go purchase myself a 1 1/4 inch hole saw. Every project in here is half done. It's frustrating. Okay, here it is, my new 1 1/4 inch hole saw.
I wish that I was regular and didn't overthink every single syllable and every single thing. Cause you know that I love you like that. Do you love me like that? I can make a good thing seem so bad every time I'm good with where we're at. My head will be the death of me. It's telling me you've already moved on when nothing's even wrong. I get a little nervous, you'll feel stuck, but then again I feel like I feel too much. I wish I could get comfortable without thinking that something's going on when nothing's even wrong.
It went through. Look at that. I made smoke come out. Yep. Look at that.
I wish that I was regular and didn't overthink every single second, every minute that we spent. Cause I don't wanna take it all back. Would you take it all back?
Right now, what's holding this to the door is the lock assembly, because it's going through the door, and it's the only thing really going through the door. So it's holding it in place, and that will work for the purpose of the test. But ultimately, I need to screw it in. So the other side is another story. I can't test without it being secured, so I got to drill. My ultimate plan for this side was to put a carriage bolt in through the front. I killed the drill, so now I gotta wait for the drill to charge back up. What I'm gonna do when it charges back up is I'm going to take a block of wood that fits into the indent, and I'm going to drill holes for the carriage bolts. Then I'm going to take the top piece, which has the hasp on it. I'm gonna figure out where exactly it needs to be in order to meet the lock, and then I'm going to drill a hole in that and continue the carriage bolt through it. A carriage bolt has a square head underneath its round head, and the reason you use a carriage bolt is because the rounded head makes it impossible for somebody to yank it out. It's really hard to get a tool in under there, and the fact that it has this square piece, if you're going into wood, it makes it super secure, because as you torque it with a nut and a lock washer from the other side, you are going to pull that wood, that square part, into the wood, so it's going to make a little square hole for itself. Different in metal. These are 1/4 inch carriage bolts. I use a 5/16 drill bit, which is 1/16 larger, right? So then once I have that in there, then I hammered the carriage bolt into the hole, and the square went into the round hole. So here's how it looks. I will just pop some blue paint on that, and it's going to go right into, it's going to look a lot like the other things that are already in here. So that's the back one. I'm going to put one in the front. Okay, fingers crossed. No. No! How is that possible? Okay, it's too low and it's too far away. This has to wedge out. This needs another piece behind it. That will bring it out. I have to bring it up as well because it's too low. No, this was the hole. It's just in the wrong hole. No, it's not just in the wrong hole. Because those were the holes it was in originally. See, what was happening before is as the piece comes in and pushes the rubber doesn't have anywhere to go because it's crashing into the wood. Because in order for the teeth to meet here, the wood's got to be like here. And that's too far over for the rubber to push aside. I need a break. Well, I took a little break yesterday, never came back out. I basically dreamed about this lock all night. When I was looking at the footage last night, it occurred to me how complicated I had made this whole thing. Why is the lock like hanging on a board so far from the actual door? And why am I playing whack-a-mole with the other piece just to shut it? I overthink, that's for sure. If you don't know what you're doing, it's easy to go down a rabbit hole. And then you do something, you go, hey, that worked out great. And then you realize maybe it didn't work out so great, but by then you're committed, so you do something else, and that follows off of it, and things that make no sense start to seem logical because you've processed them so much. I'm not sure why I felt that it had to be out from the door so far. When I was working with the first deadbolt, I had to mount it on the wood because of the screw pattern. Because this frame is solid. There's no way to screw into it. It's super solid. It's the most solid part of the whole bus. It's the only part I've never been able to get a drill into. So the wood made sense at that point. But when I switched to the other deadbolt, see, I already had a plan because I had thought about it so much. And if I had actually been present and actually looked at it, I would have seen I would do better if the lock were mounted closer to the door instead of being out. I could screw the front of it onto the front of the door where I can get the drill in, and then I could attach the back of it onto that wood that is inset. But either way, I have to cut the rubber, which is what I said I wasn't going to do. It seems inevitable at this point that I will have to cut the rubber. I used a razor knife with a new blade, and I think that's important. If your rubber is as thick as mine, you need to use a new blade. And I just cut a notch that the teeth can pop through without getting all, caught up in the rubber. That's one problem solved, and now I need to find a simple way to line the other side up. I decided to kind of reverse engineer the whole thing. So I've got just the hasp locked onto the lock piece, and I'm going to put the wood behind it and just sort of figure out from here where it needs to attach to the door. And then on this side, I just have to reassemble it. Check this out. No, it's definitely not pretty, but it works. I'll work on pretty later. Look at that, it's done. It locks, it lines up. I can do it over and over again. But now I have something to tell you. I don't know where the keys are.
I wish that I was regular and didn't overthink every single syllable and every single thing. Cause you know that I love you like that. Do you love me like that?
I found the keys. They don't work, doesn't even turn. I had to take the whole thing apart because what happened was I just screwed it in too tight, and so the cylinder couldn't turn. And now it locks fine. I can hear it lock, I can hear it unlock, but I still can't open the door. It will not open no matter how hard I pull. I don't know why. I'm gonna have to go in through the driver's side to see what the problem is.
I can make a good thing seem so bad. Every time I'm good with where we're at. Damn, I'm so embarrassed that I cared so much I put it in a song when nothing's even wrong.
Okay, I see the problem. If you push the door hard enough to line up the lock, you're also pushing it hard enough to engage the bar lock, and when that thing's on, you're not getting in. So I rigged up a bungee cord so that if I want to use the deadlock by itself, I just have to bungee the top of that lock over so that it won't engage itself. Hopefully I'll remember that. It seems kind of like what I do is I overthink the things where I should be just, paying attention and going with the flow, and then I kind of just toss off things that are maybe more important, require a little more planning. Then, of course, there's the combination. You know, the times when I put something away for safekeeping because I'm thinking about it, I'm overthinking it, and then I forget where I put it. Well, more to work on. Oh, goody. Hey, at least I get it done. Eventually. I left in all the mistakes because, for me, the story's in the mistakes. And on this channel, that is at least as important as the lock. So, as always, learn from my mistakes. That's why I make them. It kind of makes it sound like I do it on purpose. I really don't. But here's another one where I screwed it up a lot.